Welcome, I'm Ron de Parmesan, and you're watching Newscats. In a move that makes monopoly money look like pocket change, Russia has slapped Google with a fine so large it's making mathematicians question their life choices. We're talking $20 decillion. That's 20, followed by 33 zeros, for those of you who've run out of fingers and toes to count on. And why, my friends? For the unforgivable sin of blocking 17 Russian state-run media channels on YouTube. Oh, the scandal! This astronomical sum, announced on October 31st, 2024, isn't just larger than Google's market value, estimated at a measly $2 trillion. No, it's actually bigger than the entire world's GDP of $110 trillion. It's so massive, it's making black holes feel inadequate. Meow, let's break this down, shall we? Among the blocked channels are Tsargrad, known for its delightful mix of Orthodox Christianity and nationalism, REA fan, a beacon of unbiased reporting if I've ever seen one, and good old Channel 1, because who doesn't love a bit of state-sponsored entertainment with their morning tea? But why did Google block these bastions of free speech in the first place? Well, my friends, it all stems from that pesky little conflict in Ukraine. You know, the one that's been going on since 2022. Google, in a fit of Western moral outrage, decided to comply with international sanctions. The cheek of it all. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, bless his heart, remarked that the fine is filled with profound meaning. I'm sure it is, Dmitry. Presumably the profound meaning of, we're not angry, we're just disappointed. He went on to say, and I quote, "This is not about the money, it's about principle." Right, because when I think of principles, I think of numbers with more zeros than there are stars in the sky. Now, you might be thinking, but Ron, surely this isn't the first time Russia's taken a swing at Google. And you'd be right, my astute friends. Back in December 2023, they hit Google with a paltry $51.6 million fine. It's like they were just warming up, really. From millions to decillions in less than a year. That's what I call inflation. Google, for its part, seems to be taking this all in stride. After all, when your Russian subsidiary declared bankruptcy in 2022, what's another impossible to pay fine between friends? The court has graciously given Google 9 whole months to restore access to these channels. How generous! It's like telling someone they have 9 months to build a ladder to the moon using only blue tack and dental floss. If Google doesn't comply, the fine will double weekly. At this rate, Russia's next fine might be all the money in the universe plus your firstborn child and throw in a few planets for good measure. I hear Mars is lovely this time of year. Economists warn that if Google were to pay this fine, it would single-handedly solve world hunger, end all wars, cure the common cold, and probably fund a few trips to parallel universes, with change to spare. In related news, the concept of freedom of expression was last seen boarding a one-way flight out of Russia, muttering something about needing a stiff drink. But let's not forget the real victims here, the poor calculator that had to compute this fine. Rumour has it, it's currently in therapy, trying to come to terms with its newfound existential crisis. "I used to think I could handle big numbers," it sobbed to its therapist. "But this is just too much." Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, an emergency Zoom call was hastily convened. Picture it, Mark Zuckerberg, looking more robotic than usual, Elon Musk, presumably tweeting about the call while on it, and Tim Cook, polishing an apple and looking concerned. "Lads," one of them presumably said, "I think we might need to update our risks of doing business in Russia PowerPoint, maybe add a few more zeros to the budget slide." Of course, this fine is just part of Russia's broader campaign against those pesky Western tech companies. They've been passing laws faster than a cheetah on roller skates, all in the name of controlling online content. It's all part of their grand plan for digital sovereignty, because nothing says sovereignty like telling the internet it can't sit with us. The irony of imposing such a large fine on a platform that hosts cat videos isn't lost on me, my friends. I mean, what's next? Fining TikTok for not having enough videos of bears on unicycles? Oh wait, don't give them ideas. Now you might be wondering how Google plans to pay this fine. Well, I've heard they're considering selling the moon, but unfortunately, Elon Musk has already called dibs. Maybe they could start a GoFundMe. Help us pay our Russian fine. Reward tiers include naming rights to our servers and a personal thank you video from the Google Doodle team. In the grand scheme of things, This fine is just another move in the geopolitical chess game between Russia and the West. Except in this version of chess, Russia has decided to eat all the pieces, set fire to the board, and declare itself the winner based on its innovative interpretation of the rules. As for the legal process that led to this fine, well, it's about as straightforward as a Mobius strip. I'm pretty sure it involved a dartboard, a magic 8-ball, and a particularly grumpy cat making the final decision. Google's lawyers, meanwhile, are presumably updating their CVs and considering a career change, perhaps to something less stressful, like defusing bombs or negotiating peace in the Middle East. So, my friends, what's the moral of this story? Perhaps it's that when it comes to absurdity in global politics, reality often outpaces satire. Or maybe it's simply a reminder that in the digital age, the pen might be mightier than the sword, but apparently the fine is mightier than them all. If you enjoyed this journey into the realm of financial fantasy, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, unless you're in Russia, in which case, maybe don't. We can't afford the fine. And remember, in a world where fines have more zeros than a Kardashian family reunion, it's important to keep your sense of humour and maybe a few spare calculators. I'm Ron de Parmesan, and this has been another Newscat special report.